Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another video from Delta Bravo Tango. Today, we are going to take a close look back upon one of my two recent flights that I took with the so-called best leisure airline in the world, Air Transat. Rated as the #1 leisure airline on Earth by SkyTrax, an official public rating website that you can read tons of reviews and reports on, Air Transat has given me relatively high expectations, and I was expecting a rather decent journey with them. I have made a trip report on both of my flights with Air Transat, and you can click the cards linked above to view those.
Expect some light moderate turbulence in the Bay Area there, built from 104 to Cecil, California 132.
Now, let's take a close look at one of my flights that I took with Air Transat this July on board Air Transat Flight 479 from Toronto Pearson to Montreal Pierre Elliott Trudeau, operated by an Airbus A310-300. I was particularly excited for this trip as I have eagerly awaited my chance to fly the A310. This aircraft would soon be retired by Air Transat by 2020, so I was really wanting to fly it, regardless of the quality of the trip. Air Transat is known to offer exceptionally cheap fares, especially for their short domestic hops, like this one, with a flight time of roughly just 50 minutes. There are even some fares on this specific route that cost around only 70 to 80 Canadian dollars, which is an absolute bargain compared to most Canadian prices. One important feature of leisure airlines is their baggage allowance. With many leisure travelers, they are taking plenty of luggage on their vacations, so the generous 1 carry-on suitcase and 1 personal baggage allowance on the economy basic fare that Air Transat offers is definitely a bonus. It certainly was enough for me on this short flight. Another advantage of Air Transat is that they have a very simple to use website and app which allows you to set reminders, download in-flight entertainment, and check in online 24 hours before your flight, thus allowing you to choose your seats for free if you haven't paid for seat selection before. I strongly recommend waiting until 24 hours before to choose your seats for free, as there are usually plenty of seats to choose from still. After a lengthy line to get onto the aircraft, as expected on a leisure flight, we were on board this Airbus A310-300. The cabin interior is definitely not reflective of the aircraft's age, as the mood lighting and the wonderfully designed seats made the plane seem quite new, despite it actually being 27 years old. Once on board though, it was clear and evident that Air Transat's revamp of this old bird was quite thorough, because the seats were comfortable, tray tables were clean, and there was actually enormous legroom on this plane, despite the economy class cabin being arranged in a tight 333 configuration. Note, I was seated in seat 27K. In the last few rows of the Airbus A310, they are arranged in a 232 configuration, but the legroom itself is unchanged, and there was plenty of room for a 5'11" or 187 cm tall person like myself. Takeoff was soon followed by a quick drink refreshment service, and I opted for a cup of orange juice. There was barely enough time for me to take in the cabin and the sights at 35,000 feet before the captain promptly stated that our flight was beginning the descent phase. One thing I must complain about is, unlike the Air Transat A330s and their A321neos, the A310 does not come with in-flight entertainment screens, and this aircraft is usually operated on long-haul routes to Europe, so it is paramount that you bring your own IFE to keep yourself from going absolutely bazonk with boredom. Because let's face it, even the most hardcore AF geeks can get a little bored staring at a blank seat for 8 hours. Am I right? Finally, after a turbulent approach into Montreal, we arrived actually early, and after another 25-minute wait on the ground for an occupied gate to become available, we made it to the gate. And, being the shy person that I am, I mustered up the courage to ask the cabin crew for a cockpit visit, and soon found myself seated in the captain's seat, all giddy and excited like a lad getting ice cream. Okay, that was just a random example I thought of just now. It's 12 AM when I'm writing the script, so cut me some slack, okay? All in all, it was a really fun flight, and this 50-minute short hop to Montreal was definitely worth the cheap price of the ticket, and a multitude of experiences that I enjoyed while on board this old but wonderful bird. So, conclusion. Well, I certainly can't say that Air Transat is the world's best leisure airline. Well, because I haven't been on every leisure airline in the world yet. However, compared to the most recent leisure airline flight that I took with Sunwing Airlines, I can confidently say that Air Transat was a strong contender for best leisure airline in Canada at least. Their level of efficiency, kind flight attendants, and elegant cabin designs certainly made me satisfied, and I definitely would love to fly with them again. If you want to keep up with my flights and my spotting trips, consider checking out my Instagram at delta_bravo_tango, where I post many pictures and videos of aircraft and just aviation themed content. And if you are ever in search of a good leisure airline to hop around Canada, or even out to somewhere in Europe, then look no further than Air Transat, rated as the world's best leisure airline. And while I can't definitively say that it's the absolute best, I can tell you it's pretty good and I would recommend it. And at the end of the day, isn't that all you need to be persuaded to try an airline? I know that's true for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then please consider supporting my channel and following me out on Instagram. And remember, until next time, aviators, stay flying and have a great day, everyone.